solves all of our problems.
Yay.
Well, and he said, so move back.
Yeah.
Back down.
So he said he'd try to be on. He said even she was going through
Okay.
therapy, if there was a moment where he'd try to be on.
Okay.
All right, everybody's now noon. Let's open this latest edition of the Leavenworth Port Authority. Let's see, I'm gonna get my notes again here organized. We do have a quorum here today, so we can move forward. Anybody sees our packet, any problem with the July meeting minutes? Any changes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Third report, Dan is going to be not with us today, so Miss Mary's going to cover that for us today, if we could.
You really don't have a lot to report. We've got some interest of $244. We did get our second quarter funding from the county for the $37,250. The lawyer Tim Gerard, we paid $750 for answering some questions. $125 to the accountant, $38.26 to Evergy, and then you have $30 for the QuickBooks subscription, and that's it for your financials.
All right, anybody have any questions about the July financial reports?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. Does LCPA have a separate QuickBooks account from LCDC?
I had to get one in order to do the record keeping for them, so
Okay.
yes, it's a separate.
Any other questions? I will entertain a motion then to accept the treasurer's reports.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is something that we've dealt with on a yearly basis, and that is where the police department, I believe, is the head of it.
Yeah.
We invite some of the underprivileged children or kids in Leavenworth to do a deer hunt on our properties here in Barry Carlson. They've done it for years. We just have to prove that or not, and then we have some really nice things that I have to sign off on that says that we agree to allow them to do that. Anybody have any questions about that?
Who actually made the request?
It's the police department.
Okay.
Yeah, they do the controlling the deer population.
Yeah, I've talked with them before, but typically my experience has been like a citizen will make the request and then they turn it in. I wasn't sure if it was a
Yeah,
person or.
it's the police department.
Yeah, we just have to sign off. It's technically the owners of the land and everything sign off. It's been going on for years. Till we decided to stop it. And I believe it's guys in wheelchairs or girls in wheelchairs, sorry, with boats. So it's not really posing any dangers. The police department's running it. So we just have to go through this formality every year,
They've done it for a long time.
a long time. So I will entertain a motion to approve that then.
I would make a motion to allow that to happen.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And I'll sign off on that. I have the paperwork that I have to use to sign off on. I'll sign off on that then. For that. With that then, and I'll try, promise I wouldn't skip it this time. I'll move over to Lisa.
Thank you. You have the August projects and leads report in your packet. It's kind of been a slow month. That is what I understand pretty typical for this time of year, plus it's an election year. Project Cloud is actually connected to one of our ongoing projects, and they asked me to find out some information about the capacity of fiber near some specific gas lines. So when I learned that they were actually talking to a data center, a client with data that works in the data center industry, I said, well, we do have a park that's near those fiber lines, so let me tell you about that. So we sent the Leavenworth Business and Technology Park information to them. I don't know how you know, serious this is. Came, like I said, directly to us, not from one of our partners. Project Pivot is an East Coast consultant looking for 60,000 to 100,000 square feet existing building, for a battery-related manufacturer. So we did not submit, but I did add that to our, building request chart. And then, real quick, I'd like, Diana to tell you a little bit about Project Hammer.
So this
Not on
is-
here, I'm sorry, I should say, that just came in, but we wanted to give you a little update on, or, information.
Yes, it's, I just wanted to kind of give everybody a heads up before I ask them to put together a whole presentation. Because I need to see what that board's appetite is for something like this. It's a commercial retail enterprise. They're conducting a very preliminary search for a buildable lot. They're weighing the costs of repairing their existing building against just building a new one, and leaning for building new. They looked into the cost of a commercial lot. They are in Tonganoxie, and it was more than they could afford. So they inquired about the ones in Urban Hess. And I told them I would run it past the Port Authority and see what they thought. We've already floated it by the city and they're amenable, subject to, of course, all the usual protocols. So the lot that they've expressed interest in is lot 1, Urban Hess number 4, which is the 4.5 acre lot there at the top that has the non-buildable areas. And so I just wanted to see what you would think about having a retail commercial in Urban Hess. Especially since you already have the brewery that's going in.
Well,
Is it retention? Or
Yes,
is
it's
it-
retention.
It's retention.
So it serves multiple lots, right? I mean, is it a regional retention pond or is it just for that one lot?
It's the whole subdivision. I mean, it recovers the whole subdivision. So
Well, we went through this before, a
Yeah.
couple of months ago, when we were looking at the sale of that lot, so we covered how much ground was actually usable, but not knowing exactly what they have in mind, how big a building they want and parking and everything.
They haven't gone into all of that. They wanted to wait and see if you would be interested in having them in there. Cause I did explain that it is mainly industrial in there.
Well, it fronts Tonganoxie Road though, doesn't it?
It does.
So I guess that's one of my feelings is since it's not really in the park, it's almost on the periphery.
Correct.
And would they require rezoning or would they fit in the current zoning?
it would,
It would,
we don't pyramid, so it would require a zone, down zoning from industrial down to whatever it is.
right.
Well, and we still have to dot our i's and cross our t's with regard to number of people involved, the return on investment, to use the phrase county commissioners are very fond of. We need to find out all that information. Let's,
But you're willing to consider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is there,
especially if the city's approved as.
Yep.
as
wasn't there a commercial building in the front?
That's, it's gonna become the brewery,
Yeah,
Yeah, but what was that before?
pharmacy. It was a private pharmacy.
No, there was something else next to
No,
that.
that little building was originally was a
that one?
greenhouse,
Greenhouse.
nurse,
nursery.
flowers and nurseries.
But that's kind of commercial.
And then it went, then they sold it to a guy, I don't know what he really did in there. There was a motorcycle shop in there
Yes.
once. There was this last one, I'm not so sure he didn't live in it. So now it's supposedly to this brewery. I mean, I've not seen anything on it, so.
It is the brewery. It's County Line Brewing. I met with them on Monday. And they've got some fun plans for it, but it's essentially going to be a restaurant
Well,
and tavern.
correct me if I'm wrong, you're far more experienced in that. Once we sell the property, we kind of lose control over it. I mean, Port Authority and everything like that.
Yeah, the city would control the zoning after that, and I think that one was owned long time ago, retail. I'd have to go, man, that's a long time.
Right.
So it'd have to be rezoned and the city would control it by zoning.
So would we then answer your question, Candace, is the fact that we're neutral at this point because we need information?
Okay.
Is that better?
I guess we're not saying no, right?
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Okay, that's all I was looking
I mean,
for.
on the other side of that, even within here, that lot is difficult to sell in that particular regard, so that kind of puts a plus in favor, but at this point, we don't have enough information to say one way or the other on the thing.
Is, if they wanna keep their business name out of this, can they provide a NAICS code at all, or a general,
I didn't think so.
or general,
I can-
or general industry? I mean, not that it,
I
I
don't mind telling you what it is.
don't know if you wanna.
Are they ready to go public?
You can't do that yet.
Yeah, I would.
I don't open the camera and everything.
Right, but
Anyway, I think the answer for now is we're not opposed, or neutral.
Yeah.
Greg, do you have comments?
Yeah, is that the one that has access problem? You have to access it from another lot?
Precisely.
No, that one, Greg, is right directly next door to HMC's building. This one is on the other side, I wanna say north of it.
Okay, that was my only concern.
No, and actually that property has its own entrance
Yeah,
already.
it's got its own curb cut already.
Yes.
But for two properties, right?
I
No,
think
just
just
its
one.
own.
Just, okay.
We talked about last time, combining if we could.
Do you want me to point it out?
No, I know, I know which one it is, cause it comes off Tonganoxie Road. right?
Correct. Mhm.
Yeah, what you're thinking about there, Greg, we were having that discussion. So,
Well, I think business retention is very important, obviously, and we need to be able to do that, but I think we also, we just don't have a lot of industrial land and getting something. And I agree, we need to move forward, and see what they have to say, just to do the math on it, to retain jobs. But losing an industrially zoned site, it is hard to get industrial zone, it could be hard to get something zoned industrial, because it's generally have more intense use, and so we give those away for retail, we're eventually gonna say, boy, I wish we had some more industrial. I mean, that's just a consideration.
Yeah, I agree with you in a general sense, but man, these lots are so small that are you ever actually gonna get an industrial use on a, you know,
Well, you got
2 or 3 acre lot?
IST out there that's manufacturing, they got how many jobs, 30 some odd between the two, I mean, we could get buildings like that. That are heavier and they wouldn't go in a retail setting if you haven't been out there, IST's got, they're building metal things and they got trucks coming in.
well, I thought that this one might be a better option for commercial because it borders the
Residential.
subdivision.
Yes.
And it has so much area that's not buildable.
But I think from a land planning standpoint, it makes more sense to transition from residential to industrial with a buffer, buffer in the middle.
well, in this, like I said, I don't think it changes anything. It's a great discussion, but I think neutral is the best way to go until we get more information at this point.
Okay.
And your information is very much important. You know,
It's a great comment.
that makes sense. So, is that anything else we can do to help you?
No, I'll just ask them to go ahead and put together a presentation if they are serious,
Flesh it out a little bit.
right?
In fact, the city is reacting positively towards it, certainly helps. You know, they're ahead of that curve there.
Thank you.
I don't have really much else to say. I do wanna talk about project transport. And then we'll, go on to executive session at the end. Project transport, if you remember, we talked about it at the last, Port Authority meeting. This is a company interested in 2 lots in the Urban Hess Business Center. Lot 3, block 1, and lot 4, UHBC number 4. And they are the ones just north of DL Granite and Design. And so this building would be 25,000 square feet. It would be more narrow than it is wide. And it would be for the distribution center for cable that's used for the solar industry. This would bring 3 to 8 jobs in the first few years, and by the end of 10, I think it was about 12 jobs. Good wages, it's $20 to $30 an hour, and salaries will be 40,000 to 60,000. The truck traffic is minimal, 2 to 4 trucks per week. Hours of operation is 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. What you asked me to do at our last meeting was to engage the Wichita State University and contract with them to do a fiscal impact model which gives us a benefit to cost ratio. And the board members in your packets, I hope, Greg, you probably got it with you, I hope. There are two different studies. One of them, if you look down on the bottom left of the page, one is an impact model for if in the case that you do not give a reduction at all. So it's a full price of the land, which it is 260,000 because it is listed at 40,000 an acre and total acreage is 6.5 acres. The second study is in the case of giving them a full reduction of land, being that you pretty much, you give it to them. So we'll make this quick. The first 8 pages are the data that we support applied to them, to Wichita State University. On page 9, you will look at the bottom and it says benefit to cost ratio. Even if you were to give the land for free, the benefit to cost ratio for the city over the next 10-year period is 1.92. Anything above 1 is expected to have a positive impact. So again, 1.92, even if you give the land for free. For the county, that number is 229,392.63. So for every dollar that's spent on this project, the county over the next 10 years should receive $229,392.62. So I would say that's a huge plus. And then the state's is even higher. So the other thing that you asked me to prepare for you was just the last couple of years of sales of lots in the Urban Hess Business Center. So that's the next page in your packet. I have put together thank you, Mary, for your help getting all this information. In 2020, we sold 3 different properties. One was to HMC, that was just that ½ acre to add on to their property. And you sold that at $7,500 for a ½ acre. Wilson Glass in 2020, you sold the a little over 1.5 acres for $15,000. Then, which means that each acre was sold for almost $9,500. IST in 2020, you sold a little over 3 acres. And so that came out to $9,637 an acre. Then again, in IST, you sold a almost 2 acre lot, and it turned out that was sold for $10,153 per acre. And then DL Granite and Sign, you can read all that. So this gives you an idea of what you've discounted lots for in the past. And we will have to go to executive session to make that decision, which we'd like to do at the end of this meeting for you board members. Anything else to talk about on project transport?
Just an FYI for procedural things, that means at the end of the meeting, after we go through our affiliate partners and everything, anybody's dialed on outside of Greg will have to leave us for executive session. That's proprietary information they're not prepared to share with the public yet. So forgive us, we don't do it on purpose, but those are the rules and regs that we have to follow.
I just put them in a meeting room, in a waiting room.
So without going through the whole, I mean, obviously it's first time I have to see it, but so this company's gonna sell stuff that goes into that industry. Is it sales tax?
There will be sales tax.
So the city, the county and the state will benefit from sales tax.
And that's incorporated into these fiscal impact models.
Obviously, the property tax, there's no abatements being asked for.
Correct, at this point, and the city has not indicated any.
Okay, and so the next thing is, I've not talked to George about it, I mean, city, they're tracking everything.
Yes.
Okay,
They've had a preliminary meeting with them.
and George won't be on today, he's at another meeting.
Okay.
Down, so.
Where are things taxed? They're taxed at the point of consumption, right? Not at the point of production?
It depends,
Right.
how do they do it? It could be, are they taxed at the point of delivery, like your Amazon, if you get something from Amazon, you should be, and it comes to Tonganoxie, Tanahashi should get this, that portion of the sales tax on with the state. But it just depends on how they sell it. Are they picking this stuff up or how are they doing it? So the sales tax may be good, it may not be good, just depends on how they're processing it. Do we know if they're delivering or are customers picking up or both?
As I understand it, customers are picking up, but I would imagine you're probably right, it's probably both.
So, I mean, if they pick it up, we're gonna bill them right here on the spot, not bill them, I guess you are billing. We had this conversation last night at council meeting, exact same conversation on delivery versus pickup. Do they all put it in? So, I mean, what was the sales numbers? We're talking 15 million in sales in years 20, but let's be a little bit more realistic in short term. In 10 years, $10 million sales, if that's taxed at the current county and city and state level, 9.9375.
I don't know what it's talking.
So, that's a pretty good chunk of money coming to all the entities in the county. But if it's sent out and delivered, I think it would be whoever paid for it, wherever that person paid for that.
If you're looking sales and projected sales and purchases are on page 2.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously the property tax is all ours, which is not bad. Okay.
It might still be worth doing it, there's no sales tax.
Right. And he may be willing to change that number, we could, but, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and I picked up right away when I saw the results of that, is they looked at us giving them the land. And when you throw that number back out there, they're not gonna get that land for free, that number becomes even better, so for every dollar invested, we're getting a $2 return at minimum. So we did this primarily because the Board of County Commissioners asked us for return on investment rather than accept what we had to say. That's fine. We went out and paid for the study to be done, which was state.
6.5.
Yeah, and the commissioners have asked us all along, what's the value of the lots, how are we pricing them, and I mean, it's based on what goes in there, not, we just don't have a common number.
When I saw the result, I was thrilled. And yet, remember, these impact studies, when they're done in Wichita State, they take so much into account, not just a local level, state level and everything like that. They throw all those numbers in and then this is what they spit out. And they do this, I hate to say it the same way, because I'm sure it's unique for each different project. But the same data is used for all of the state who use this for decision making.
And does the city have a copy of this? Does George have a
Yes.
copy? So he
I
has a
sent it.
copy and then make sure Greg gets a copy and all board members. I think that's important.
So which lots is it that's on our balance sheet?
4 and 5, 3 and 4.
Where's the?
Right behind you, Chris. You can probably-
No, my question's.
Urban Hess lot 3 and 4 are on for about 607,000.
Okay. How many acres total of those two?
6.5.
And this is what we're going to go into
Right.
executive session to
Yep.
discuss.
First of all, it's wonderful that we have people interested.
Yes.
That's great.
And there are those out in the community, not unjustly so, will present the fact that we've had this land for a long time too. So, hey,
Agree.
that'd be the upper right hand corner, yeah, the 2 lots on the right hand side there.
So we're right at 7, not quite 7 acres.
Well, once you throw it, it looks like there's some easement on top of them.
Yeah, that's that pond. Okay.
Anything else to add then, Lisa?
I think, that's it. I didn't, hold on with that a second. Are you gonna talk about the meeting tomorrow, separately?
No, I can do that now, just FYI, for those of you not aware, we will be meeting with the Board of County Commissioners at their 9 a.m. meeting tomorrow. Please join us, anybody wants to come down where they will be discussing, and we will be defending our budget. And they will discuss, what they can do for us and what they can't do for us. We'll be down there, we're at the end of their agenda at this particular point in time. But we appreciate any and all support. Anybody out there, please join us. Thank you.
No, the final thing I always want to remind you all, if you are interested, we have a golf tournament coming up for LCDC on the 13th of September. We still have sponsorships available. We still have a bit of room for teams, so that'll be done at Fort Leavenworth. Then in October, we've got a couple events. On the 10th, we're going to have our fourth quarter luncheon, investor luncheon, and so that'll be at Lansing High School. And Josh Gensler is going to be our speaker. And then on the 18th, we have a career fair that's going to be held at Lansing Community Center. So if you want information, please let us know. That is the end of my report.
Any questions for Lisa? As usual, you're very thorough and complete. Thank you very much. Moving on, the next thing is we had to pay the lawyer fees invoice that requires, so my signature requires approval by the board. We had some legal fees, nothing to.
There's $100, but
$100.
oh, we have a new one now,
We got a new
and then we'll have some stuff. Yeah, that's in the package.
Where's, we got that, what's the value on that?
I gave it to you, it's like $1,000.
Yeah, it's like $1,000, $1,015. But that was.
So do we have a report from him or?
Yeah, well, we were scheduled to meet.
Oh, you're gonna
there's stuff
talk
in
to
the
him
package.
later.
Yeah, I have but he had to cancel, he had a conflict, family conflict.
I got you.
There's information in the package. So,
I guess we have anybody, I suppose we need a action item in the sense we need to make a motion to pay the bill.
we approved up to, what did we approve at the meeting? Was it 5,000?
About 5,000.
Yeah, so I think we've already approved up to 5,000.
Okay, then I guess my job is to pull the board and I'll sign the check. Okay.
So,
And the way we're set up, I think anybody can sign the check, any of the executive committee can, but since I'm here, I will sign the check. Regional transportation plan update.
Greg.
That's Greg. Greg's, we got some other things going on,
I
Greg.
think he's on there. Or he just said.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm gonna pass and just do the update September. I got a few things, but nothing time critical. So you got a lot on your plate this meeting, so we'll pass it to September.
We do. And I think we're going to bypass the industrial site and future funding committee updates at this particular point in time, the Panasonic update, so we get to our affiliated partners. Any objections to that? Okay, so let's reach out to our affiliated partners. Josh, there he is.
Hey, I have nothing really bad. We're just working on budget, should be doing it shortly, and then we, yeah, hopefully we'll enter into some contracts that will be public notice, for areas in the city, so.
Okay, thanks, Josh. And I see Vicky. Do you have some comments from Board of County Commissioners?
Well, I don't have a whole lot. I look forward to meeting with you tomorrow, and I just wanted to let Greg know that David Van Paris is just about completed with he and Janet Klaczynski with the information he had done on the FORA request.
Thank you very much for any assistance you were able to offer. Appreciate that. All right, moving on. Penny?
Yes, good afternoon. The Leavenworth City Commission is meeting tonight for a study session that will include an update on the status of public works projects and also an update on our big event happening next month, which is Camp Leavenworth. And then today, I believe, is the last day we're accepting comments for our Vision Zero Traffic Safety Project. So if you would like to put a pin on a map and submit traffic safety comments for the city of Leavenworth, please see the city's website and go add those comments. That's all that I have for today.
Thank you very much, Penny. Is there anybody on from the city of Baser?
There's no
Okay.
else.
I know Vernon had another meeting, so, city of Tonganoxie?
George is at a meeting, Kansas Housing Resource Corporation meeting, and couldn't attend today, so he asked me to shout about a few things, and let me just go down the list of what he gave me. On the Roush Coleman project, they expect to have 40 houses complete by the end of the year. That's kind of amazing. They have 0 on there. Polished and decorative concrete, 20,000 square foot office and warehouse on 2440 is going up, and I walk by it daily, and it's doing really well. The dog park that Hills donated the money to put in, Hills Pet Science donated the money, is under construction and should be complete by the end of the year. DSM is the new project in the industrial park. 50,000 square foot is nearly completed. We're working on a downtown regulating plan for the 4th Street corridor, and that's the old historic downtown. That should be progressing, meeting with the property owners, and then just a couple of footnotes that he has here about the Hills tax abatement, which is always sometimes a confusing issue. George states that the property came back in at $86 million in appraised value. Leavenworth County appraisers on books, resulting in $21 million of assessed value to that's the assessed part of it, 464. The pilot program, which is payment in lieu of tax, which is not abatable, is based on 12 mil calculation, and it's already contributing to the county, to the city, and to the school district. So looks like the total numbers, USDA 464 will be $220,000 new money to them. And then the total impact over the next 10 years for the county is 471 and the city is about 470. So even with an abatement, there's still over $1 million in revenues coming over the 10 years. So that's what he wanted me to throw out. So
They're voluntarily given that, that's nothing.
well, no, it's required under the pilot. Was negotiated in the contract when we sold the land. The school is hold harmless for that 220,000. The school is that's a hold harmless by state law. So then the pilot was negotiated
Separate.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
So we're ending up with more. I mean, even though it looks like 100% abatement, it's not 100% abatement. We still get money. Thank you.
Anybody else out there? Any other questions? Then we'll hold the meeting adjourned. Only a couple minutes late. We're going into executive session though. Greg, you'd like to dial on, please?
I'll put them in the waiting. And what time is it?
You'll have to remove that note taken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it 12:31?
Oh,
I did.
And it's for how long, the?
probably 10 minutes, if that. Yeah, we'll go to executive session for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then the career fair, let's go through some events that are happening.
Big fire coats off.
Right.
And then when we come out, we'll have to note either if you have to do anything that has to be voted in public if we're gonna vote. It needs to be public. So at least press probably ought to stay on.
Yeah, we'll come back out of the executive session as soon as we can, and then we'll be back in the public so you can see results of anything we have to vote on. Don't report them.